So Rear Window is a classic movie directed by Alfred Hitchcock. It's also considered by many people as his best movie ever, but I honestly wasn't so thrilled of it. Maybe it's only what I felt, but first let me explain my point of view before you go down the comments and start attacking me. One of the things that I always think about is how should a movie be delivered to the viewer. I know that some directors like Hitchcock and others try to manipulate their viewers with mysterious scenes that have some hidden meanings behind them that require you to understand the mentality of the director and what he exactly wanted of these scenes. And most of the times you just go and Google it to find that hidden meaning and then you act like you were impressed. I mean, like, for me, and I think for most of the people out there, we only have a few time in the week to enjoy watching a movie, maybe at the weekend, and I want the movie that I watch to be clear with its agenda from the beginning, without having me to spend extra hours searching the internet about the meaning of what I saw. I mean, like, I have watched many movies with deep agendas behind them, but these agendas were clearly presented throughout the movie and didn't require me to rewatch some scenes of the movie or the whole movie again to understand them. Rear Window is one of these movies that if you wanted to fully understand it, you have to know the mentality of Hitchcock in order to appreciate the hidden details behind each scene of the movie. And unfortunately, I am one of these people that like to get everything about what I watch and hate to waste extra time to find out what was supposed to be told to me during the movie. I'll give my positive and negative points about Rear Window based on my first impression of the movie. One of the things that disturbed me in the movie is that the people do everything in front of wide open windows, even though they know that there are tons of neighbors who are watching them, because clearly our windows were overlooking each other's. So we've got couples arguing, making out, a woman doing private things and dancing in her underwears, a lonely person sharing his loneliness with the rest of his neighbors, and even we've got a person murdering his wife and burying her head in the flower bed that everyone has access to. I also think that the movie in many scenes distracted the viewers from the main plot by many small unnecessary scenes about the life of the neighbors after the murder happened. You know how, like, usually in crime movies, every scene of the movie could have a clue that can help us find evidences about the crime and the murderer, and usually in such movies I try to focus and memorize all the scenes, especially the ones after the crime take place, because these are our evidences of the crime. But the movie kept showing us unnecessary glimpses about the life of the neighbors, even when the heroine was at the house of the murderer and he could return at any second. We've got interrupted by how miserable Mrs. Lollyheart was. I mean, at that scene, I was just screaming at the screen to return the camera to the heroine so we can finish the excitement. Funny enough that because of these scenes, when I saw the lonely pianist return to his apartment late, the same time the murderer returned, I thought that the murderer was actually gay, and the one he was having an affair with is not a woman but another man, which is, as we know, was not the case at all. But I mean, what should I do? I believe what I see. But not to be all negative about it, I also enjoyed the lives of some of the neighbors, like the funny Dew who has the dog, and Mrs. Lollyheart life, who was always searching for true love, and once she thinks that she found one, she got surprised that the man only wanted to use her sexually and was not really interested in her, up to her almost suicide attempt and writing her death note, only to be stopped by the music of the pianist.
I wonder.
Wonder what?
Miss Lonelyheart's just laid out something that looks like rhodium triagonal capsules.
Well, you can tell from here.
I've had enough of those red pills to put everybody in Hackensack to sleep for the winter.
Something else that I found silly in the movie is that the proof of the murder was the wedding ring and some jewelries the wife of the murderer left in the apartment, and that if she really left, she would have at least taken her wedding ring with her. Come on, I mean, like, throughout the movie we are told that the murderer and his wife, aka the victim, was arguing all the time and he sent her away on the train. Like, if you are going to leave your husband for good, why would you take your wedding ring or anything that could remind you of him? So it was logical to leave it behind you or even throw it away. That's why I found the proof to be unreasonable. Something else is the death of the dog. I mean, like, we were previously shown how nicely the murderer treated the dog, even though it was digging the hole where he hid the head of the corpse, and the only time the protagonist closed his curtains for a minute, we found out that the dog was murdered. So that only made me suspect that the murderer knew that he was watched, but yet it was not true. And speaking about what the murderer buried in the flower bed, when did he have time to bury the head there? And the protagonist was watching him 24/7 after the murder was committed. Like, am I not right?
It's dead. It's been strangled. The neck is broken.
One last thing I want to mention is how the murderer spilled everything about the murder after being caught, even though he knew the police didn't have any clue except for the wedding ring. Honestly, I was impressed by the movie direction and how everything was shot on one set, and we know how difficult that can be. I mean, I have watched some movies who were also shot on one set. Some of them were great, like 12 Angry Men, and the most were extremely boring. What's more impressive about this movie is that not all the cast were around the director so he can easily direct them. Actually, all the secondary characters, including the murderer, were on other buildings, so the director had to remotely direct them, and I think Hitchcock did a wonderful job directing this movie. Shout out to the incredible performance of James Stewart as Jeffries, the actor of one of my all-time favorite movies, It's a Wonderful Life, and the gorgeous actress Grace Kelly as Lisa Fairmont, whose this is the first movie of her that I watch. I must also mention the development of their characters on screen, from Jeffries telling the nurse that he can't be together with Lisa because of the difference in their social classes and hobbies, to Lisa being the first one to believe and support the theories of Jeffries, even when his friend, the detective, accused him of hallucinating, and even risking her safety and breaking into the murderer's apartment to find some evidences of the murder, proving that she can be adventurous as Jeffries wanted her to be. And I liked how Jeffries smiled when he knew he was wrong about her and that their relation can actually work. I also enjoyed the last scene when we see Lisa reading a book about Himalayas in front of Jeffries and then switching to the fashion magazine after he slept, proving that social classes isn't that big of a barrier in relationships by sticking to her hobbies. And whether that's right or not in real life, I enjoyed the concept in this movie.
How's your leg?
It hurts a little.
And your stomach?
Empty as a football.
Finally, Rear Window was not certainly the best or the worst movie I've watched. It had its pros and its cons, and it's up to the viewers to see if the movie suits their likings or not. My final rating for the movie is 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching this video. Tell me in the comments what do you think about the movie and your rating for it. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.